Alright, guys, here's another Let's Harvard conversation. I'm Christian Wiggins, and I'm here with Khalil, my next guest, I guess. So, Khalil is, 26?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience know who you are.
Name's Khalil, 26, from Florida. I was born in Fort Lauderdale, which is about a 45-minute drive north of Miami. Moved to Tampa when I was 2, kind of grew up there. Went to college in Orlando at UCF, and now I'm living here in Texas. Been here for about 4 years now.
4 years?
Yeah.
Damn. That's as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
Wait,
December of 14.
December 2014?
Yeah.
Dude, that's right around the same time I got here, too. That's funny. So, that's actually really funny.
Pretty sure we've had this conversation before.
But
It's just funny because we just had one of those moments.
yeah,
20 minutes ago.
yeah, for real. It's like, so downstairs we were talking about Kool-Aid and how in different households, in the black household they put sugar in it, in the white household, they kind of follow the ingredients to the T and everything.
We looked it up. There's no mention of putting sugar in there.
So in that case, in the white household, they've been right all this time, and we're over here like, well, shit, we thought, there was no sugar in Kool-Aid at all.
Which tastes better though.
Yeah, you're right. It does taste better. But Fort Lauderdale, that's where you were born?
Yeah.
I thought you were born in Tallahassee.
No, Fort Lauderdale. I've only been to Tallahassee a couple times.
So, wait. Where did you live? Did you live in Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
So, where is that, like, from Fort Lauderdale?
It's 3.5 hours north on the west coast of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
Kind of in the middle of the state.
So, did your family move to Texas before?
Yeah, they moved like 2 years before me.
Okay, so you were still in college at the time and everything?
Yeah, I just followed them after I graduated.
Yeah. So, what made you want to go, like, okay, fuck this, like, I'm going to move to Texas?
Just kind of a fresh start. Just wanted to see something new. And kind of funny enough, about a year after being in Texas, enjoying it obviously, but it's like, dang, I might have to move somewhere new every like 5, 6, 7 years. Just never live in the same place. But it's cool here. It gets kind of cold, but miss the beach too.
So, have you been, like, so you moved from Florida to Texas. You said every 5, 6 years you want to move somewhere else.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. That's pretty much the same thing I want to do every 5, 6, maybe even shorter than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's
like
next?
4 years, kind of like,
Yeah.
high school 4 years, college 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like every 4 years you gotta get
So-
something new.
So it's like my 20s, 4 years, 30s, 4 years type of thing. So where's the next like state for you?
Trying to do LA next, but it is kind of expensive there. Just kind of looking at stuff, it almost makes more sense to just stay here and buy a house. But there, definitely want to do the whole Colorado thing. Denver, maybe the Northwest, like Seattle, Portland, but I don't really do well with the cold. That's the problem with there, and also Denver. But yeah, pretty much. LA is probably the next place.
So like, well, that makes a lot of sense because you're from Florida and you're like, going up north would just be like, that's a whole nother like side of this country, So.
And it gets cold enough here.
Huh?
It gets cold enough here.
Nah, not really. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It gets cold enough here.
Oh, yeah. I was like, for me, it's like, this is kind of like springtime.
It's cold outside right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of rainy too, so
Yeah.
it's pretty bad. So, LA, like, at what point is like, okay, cool, time to like stop moving around. I'm gonna settle down and.
I'm gonna accidentally have kids. Probably. start a family. Don't want to like grow up like a military family where you're moving everywhere.
Right.
Can't make friends.
So when you accidentally have kids, you're just like
maybe accident, maybe on purpose. You know? But when I have kids, probably.
Right. Is there like any countries that's on the map for you, or is it just like state to state?
Kind of want to do Europe, but I don't know. I also just really want to stick to the States. We'll see.
Right.
One day, the U.S. might not, economically be as good as somewhere else, but we'll see. It'd have to be a country that, people know English predominantly.
Right.
Just because I know a little bit of Spanish, just a little bit. Probably can, go to somewhere like, that just spoke French.
Right.
Obviously, there's English speakers in France, but I don't know. Maybe Europe. Who knows?
I mean, you're a soccer player and everything, so I mean, Europe will be pretty ideal in a way. And obviously, like every country in Europe kind of speaks soccer, so why not like?
Yeah, well, soccer has its own language. It's kind of funny.
Right.
You can have 5 different, languages spoken from the 11 people on the field, and they can all communicate with each other. So you look at the EPL, like the English Premier League. So I guess maybe England would be a good city to move to, or good country to move to. Thinking of London, but you look at the teams in the EPL, like the top teams. We got people from Brazil. We got a Portuguese player, a French player, maybe a couple Spanish players, but they're all able to communicate. Obviously the players will come in and kind of learn English. The more and more they're there, but it's still broken English. They still are able to communicate, regardless if they could even like speak to each other. They really can't in that atmosphere because it's so loud. But yeah, Europe would definitely fit. It would be pretty cool to live in a place where soccer is like the number 1 sport.
Right.
Would be maybe a different experience. Who knows?
I mean, in like 5 years' time, I feel like soccer might be the number 1 sport in America.
It'll never be the number 1 sport here. There's always basketball. I know football's in the climb, but there's always basketball.
Well, all right. Football was the American sport, right?
I mean, it still is.
I think it's on the decline a little bit with the whole everything that's going on. So I mean, where do you think soccer ranks in America? Pretty much like
pretty much like tied for 4th with the NHL. Maybe let's see. You got the NFL, the NBA. I'd say I don't know whether baseball, but I'm thinking like between baseball, hockey, and soccer. I don't think there's a clear third.
Right. I mean, well, baseball was once upon a time like
it's the pastime.
Yeah,
it's called the past for a reason.
Yeah, you're right. I went to one baseball game and like I learned the hard way that you're supposed to go to a baseball game like right around the 6th inning, and like you're supposed to watch like the 3rd. Like the last 3 innings.
Home inning stretch.
Yeah, because when I went to the 1st inning, like there was nobody there. They were just swinging the bat around, like pretending to hit the ball. It's like, wait, this is the sport of baseball. So, especially with like our generation, we don't have a lot of like big attention span. So like watching all 9 innings is not, you know.
It all depends, man. I know a lot of people don't have an appreciation for baseball, but I kind of have one. I grew up playing a little bit. So to me, baseball is more of a like all event or an all day event. So like you get there a little bit early. It's almost like a picnic. You're at a picnic and it's like there. It's more of a day. I don't know. It's almost like golf. It's because for one, it's pretty routine as well.
Right.
But I don't know. It's hot dog, cold beer, kind of just relaxing.
I mean, I think that's probably the fun part about it all and everything is that everybody's just relaxing, drinking, hanging out with family and stuff, and like kind of watching their favorite baseball player play. But then when you watch, the NBA and football and everything, you're looking at them and you're like, oh shit, like they're jumping pretty high, they're catching all these balls, they're dunking,
it's way faster pace.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so I think more of I can take my best bro to a football game and a basketball game rather than like taking my best bro to like a baseball game. I guess. I mean, if you want to talk most of the time, but
yeah, it's like it's sit back, relax, have a chat kind of thing.
Yeah. So
you hear a crack on the bat and you look up, see what's going on.
Yeah, you're like, oh, did we miss something?
Even if you were paying attention to the game, there's 30, 45 seconds between pitches most times.
Between it?
Well, maybe not that amount of time, but
I was like,
there's between batters at least.
Right.
Definitely a 15, 20 second break between pitches. So
I've never really watched baseball on TV. How does that work? Do they show like all the innings, or is it kind of?
Yeah, they do. They've got commercial breaks, obviously.
Right.
Kind of when they switch, and then the fielders are doing their little warm ups before the inning. But definitely a different experience watching in person.
Right.
Watching on TV it's not as entertaining. I don't know.
Right.
It's gonna be it's a slow pace, so living at a slow pace, kind of relaxing. It's way different than watching TV. You don't really want to watch something at a slow pace.
Right.
Think about movies. People complain about movies being slow, TV shows being slow, kind of. So I think that's why a lot of people don't really like baseball, because their experiences with it is watching it on TV.
Yeah.
As opposed to being there.
Right.
A way different experience. But
I mean, speaking of like baseball and all, and like football and everything, have you seen the Super Bowl?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Good. Because my next question is, how did you feel about them cutting off the SpongeBob song, pretty much? Because they promised us the host, like the song, but they gave us the trumpets, and that was the end of the whole thing.
I don't know. I didn't really care too much. I think the song they played after was Sicko Mode, and it's kind of a jam, so well, my friends were disappointed, but I was going in.
I mean, you couldn't really understand Travis Scott, rapping Sicko Mode. It was like, what are you saying, bro? Like, it's almost like he mumbled even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably pretty tough to do that stuff live.
Yeah.
Especially when you're rapping in a fast flow. Obviously, you can lose breath, especially if you're performing and you're kind of all over the place. But, I mean, there were definitely a couple times where they just blacked out everything. And there was no sound at all just because of the curse words.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny.
It was almost like, I was like, did he really curse that much? Or like,
I think they just to be safe, they just took out the whole line.
Yeah. So, I mean, Maroon 5, I think did decent. I didn't like that almost every song that they did was almost a minute long, and they kind of squeezed all their best songs. You kind of
gotta expect that, but I, for one, I didn't realize how many hits they had.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, geez, Maroon 5 sings this song too? Like,
yeah.
I didn't realize that over the years.
Damn.
Like, I'm not really into Maroon 5 like that.
Yeah.
I've heard them on the radio, obviously, plenty of times. But I'm not like, oh, who's this? Or I'm not like Coldplay, Nickelback, Maroon 5, they all the same. But I was like, dang, this one too? Like, dang, they had a lot of hits. Maybe I should be listening to Maroon 5.
Yeah, you should listen to
Nah, it was a joke. No disrespect. But.
Oh, man. Alright, but how do you feel about like this time around Kevin Hart didn't get drunk and try to go on stage? I don't know if you saw that last year. He got drunk and then he tried to go up on stage.
I did not really.
No?
I'd be watching the halftime show, but I don't really be paying attention to it too much.
No, it was at the end of the Super Bowl last year. Yeah.
What? So wait, what happened?
Kevin Hart got drunk, tried to run up on stage to celebrate with the Eagles. Yeah.
Well, he's from Philly.
Yeah.
Did they let him on?
No.
How'd it happen? Oh no.
Security was like, no, you can't go up there. He's like, no, I know them. I'm Kevin Hart, goddamn.
And I bet the security guard was like twice his size.
Yeah,
it was probably like he was like the size of the Rock.
Not twice his size, like triple his size, bro. Like it was like.
And isn't it Kevin Hart that's like, oh no, he wasn't ready?
Yeah. But this time, like he did an Instagram live saying this time I didn't go up on stage or got drunk or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of expected because his team didn't make it to the Super Bowl, so it's like, well, it makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
But he's just, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
You get running jokes with friends. So yeah. He's famous.
Yeah,
he's slightly different.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though. But I didn't like the what team was playing. That's how boring the Super Bowl was.
And the Patriots.
Yeah, it was so boring. It was like
it was a good football game. It just wasn't exciting.
No, it wasn't even a good football game. Come on, let's be okay. Defensive wise, yes, great football game. Mm-hmm. Offensive wise, it's like, what are you guys doing? This is not practice. Can you please play the game? I sat there. I'm like, man, this was a waste of my time. I'm like, getting really upset.
I could have just watched the highlights.
Yeah, like even then, that wouldn't have been interesting.
They couldn't have been extended highlights by any means.
Yeah, like it would have been like a 2-minute highlight. Like these are the best plays that happened. Kind of just showed mostly defense and then like 2 or 3 like offensive stuff. But and then Tom Brady said he's not retiring till 45. So how do you feel about that? 41. I mean, I'm pretty sure of it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
He could probably play till he's 50. Brett Favre could probably still be playing too.
Come on, man. We worked so hard to get him out of football. Don't
encourage him.
Yeah, don't encourage him to like come
blow
back.
Up. Yeah, Brett Favre, you hear this? Come back. The Bucs will probably sign
you. Wow.
I'll take it. I'll take you as the Bucs quarterback.
Yeah, okay. And then he's gonna probably throw a lot of interceptions, and then you're gonna be like, you know what?
He's still an all-time great. I mean, he threw a lot of interceptions, but he threw a lot of touchdowns too.
Yeah, but he's not better than Peyton, though.
Yeah, they're all good. Not all of them, but all the good ones are good.
All the good ones are good, but the bad ones are average or bad.
I mean, if we're even being honest, like even the bad ones, if you're in the NFL and you're an NFL quarterback, even if you're third string, you gotta be good.
Right.
You're the best of the best. There's only 30 people, 32, I guess, that could be starting NFL quarterbacks. Third string, you're top 100.
Right.
I mean, obviously you're not going to be as good as the top, and somewhere probably around like number 14 or 15, there's a big gap. It starts winding it out between how good people are. But regardless, the people at the top, they're all really good. The Peyton Mannings, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Brett Favre, kind of Joe Montana, all of them. They're all really good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, well, you got the comparisons too. Like, you got Tom Brady being compared to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, with the 6 rings.
Yeah, with the 6 rings. And then you got Aaron Rodgers being compared to LeBron James, but not in a good way, in a bad way. The way that if Aaron Rodgers got hurt, he has to go out on the sidelines and then pretend like it's not that bad of an injury and come back out. So they keep comparing him to LeBron James, saying like, yeah, they always get slightly injured and pretend like it's so bad, but then they come back out and look cool and stuff.
Well, I don't know about Aaron Rodgers, but LeBron be taking some hits.
Right.
And as many hits he takes, surprised he's, been able to play so long. He just missed a bunch of games, but that's really maybe the first or second time it's happened in all of his career.
Right.
But yeah, LeBron's a goat. LeBron's so good. I don't necessarily you could say Tom Brady is the best, like you can say LeBron is, and that's even with KD and Steph. But Aaron Rodgers is definitely another quarterback I miss. But yeah, those at the top, man, they're all really good. Kevin Durant, LeBron, Steph Curry. I mean, the NBA is stacked too, especially in point guards. So many good point guards.
Right.
I mean, even players like Jimmy Butler, who aren't even the top, are really good, you know?
So, now, like, so as we're speaking about teams and everything, right? So, I recently found out, don't know why I recently found out, this happens like maybe 3 years ago. I looked it up. I think it was 3 years ago. But New York legalized marijuana, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big shocker to everybody in my family. Like, what? Like, when the hell did New York legalize marijuana? Because we lived in New York so long where there's just a bunch of old people running New York, you know? Mm-hmm. So they're all like, no, marijuana is bad, blah, blah. And then you got the state of Texas where, like, there's so many people who secretly smoke weed, but it hasn't been legalized here yet.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much. But how do you feel about that? Like, New York, the state that everybody thought would never legalize weed, have legalized weed before a lot of other states.
Well, I know Texas is going to be one of the last because it's a Republican, which
Right.
is crazy to me because Republicans are really about, like, the free market and no restrictions or anything like that. And then they're killing a whole market, which isn't even bad. I mean, it's better than alcohol and cigarettes, tobacco products. But New York, I don't know, they probably looked at the money. It's like, it makes no sense to not legalize it and be able to tax it. It's better than spending money on, you know, prosecuting for it.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking about it, it kind of just opens up, like, way more jobs legally rather than illegally. So, like, as a weed seller, you know how to sell it now. Like, you know, you're like, well, shit, now that this state is legalizing this, let's, you know, I can bring my customers to the store if you hire me and stuff like that. So, just, and also, like, it's $1 billion, like, company now, which is only in a few states. So imagine if it was in, like, a lot more. Yeah.
Well, now it's like 27 states where it's legalized. But, yeah, it's soon it'll be all 50. Then there's going to be national marijuana companies. There's going to be a Walmart of weed. You know, it's going to be a Target, a Target, where all the bougie, the bougie people are going to go. And all the people are going to go to Walmart for the Reggie.
So, so weed going up against, what is it called? The, you know, the pods, the
Juuls.
Juuls, yeah. Weed going up against Juuls. Who do you think is going to win?
So, well, you can't really compare them. I mean, one is nicotine, one is THC.
But, like, business-wise, though, because, you know...
Oh, yeah, what's it called? Well, yeah, the weed industry is probably going to be way bigger.
Right.
Way bigger.
Because, is it... To me, I feel like Jews are making money because it's the wave now. It's the cool thing to do. You know, it's like, well...
I don't necessarily think it's a cool thing to do.
Alright, but,
it's
like...
just a way to get off smoking cigarettes.
Right, but, like, let's be honest, who's actually buying the Juuls?
It's a lot of high schoolers, though. But they're still, like, normal mid-20-year-old people. People in their 30s that are buying Juuls to get off smokes.
Right.
Smoking cigarettes.
I mean, I'm not saying that there's no benefits to it, right? But I'm saying, like...
Yeah, well, I can't really... I just see people talk about that stuff.
Right.
I don't know any high schoolers. Outside of my little brother. I don't know if he Juuls. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. But, I mean... I don't really see high schoolers doing like that, so...
Right. I mean, if you go outside more, just, like, take a peek and you can see them just, like, swarming around, like, bro, I'm trying to get the Juul. Like, they're all talking to, like, their 18-year-old friends. Well, now they're pushing it to try to be 21 now, so I don't know how they're going to manage to do that.
I want my flavors back. So I'll Juul.
Right.
I don't want my mango back. I don't want to have to get menthol. Just because you guys are scared of people underage buying it. No, don't. It's like the gun argument. It's like, don't make it harder on me.
Like, don't affect my life like that. Well, it's not my fault. A 17-year-old is getting his hands on it. He's not allowed. Like, nobody's legally allowed to sell it to him.
Right.
He's got to have an ID. That should be enough. Enforce that.
Well, I mean, nowadays you can just buy it off the internet, but how can you enforce it on the internet, you know?
Well, they've got like you've got to put your license number, and you got to take a scan of it and all this stuff. It like goes through a like FDA database, but still though, like you could still, regardless of whether you're getting it at the store or you're getting it online, if you're over 18, you can only get it. And if little kids have it, it's because someone over 18 bought it for them.
Right.
So they still buy it for them. It's dumb.
Well, I recently heard that one of the kids I used to work with at Blaze, right? He stole his mom ID to get it scanned and all that other stuff to buy.
That's another thing too.
So that's what I'm saying. Like,
easier.
How can you really enforce it if you can just still?
It's like they were saying. It's like the guns, man. It makes it easier for the criminals,
right?
But it makes it harder for, law-abiding citizens like me.
So, like, how do you feel about guns?
I mean, they're whatever. People use it for protection, but I don't know. There's no place on Earth for them.
Right.
No, but they're obviously here. So, obviously you have to have them to protect yourself. I think a lot of people are paranoid too, though.
Right.
Obviously there's psychos too, go up and shoot innocent, defensive people. Freaking retarded.
Right.
I don't necessarily believe in the more guns means you're safer. It always reminds me of like an apocalyptic time where you have to have a gun. Whenever people say that.
Yeah.
Realistically, someone's not going to go and shoot up the mall that you're at. Obviously, it could happen. But I mean, even though it happens as much as it does, which it happens way too much, happens a lot. Even with that, like, the chances of you getting shot up at a mall aren't really that high. There's how many malls? There's 4 malls in each city in the U.S.
Right.
And then how many cities in the U.S.? There's probably like 300,000 malls. So you got a 1 in 300th chance every 4 or 5 days, like to get shot up. If you're really that scared of getting shot up at a mall, go live in a small city with a small shopping plaza. But yeah, that's my take on guns.
Okay.
They're cool if we need to hunt, but.
I did like that whole thing of you saying that don't take away my flavor just because these kids are buying it. That's funny and true because, like, to me, I'm the same way. It's like, you really just gonna take away this thing because some kid is buying it? Like, why are you punishing all of us? Punish them, send them to jail or something. Or,
yeah, I don't need to be going to jail, but or just have it. I don't know. Obviously, you have to have an age restriction on it. But if you're gonna buy them, you're gonna you can't really stop someone from doing it.
Yeah.
Whether they're 12, obviously a 12-year-old should not be doing that. Obviously, there's some ethical stuff of giving the person that ability to do it. But if a 12-year-old knows what a jewel pod is and wants to do it,
yeah,
they're obviously in a bad situation, anyways.
Yeah.
Like something's off. They're probably hanging out with people who are too old. Regardless, they're probably gonna get it at 12. So I guess that whole law-abiding citizen, you're making it harder on me, like easier for the people who aren't supposed to be doing it applies.
Yeah.
With that.
But like I honestly, like you said before, you don't know exactly how they're doing it and all that because you don't know a lot of teenagers.
Yeah.
And
people are smart.
Yeah.
Even kids are.
And honestly, like, same thing. It's like, every day I try to figure out, like, how do you get this, I've seen some of them go to, like, their 18-year-old friends and get it. But then what about the 12-year-olds who are, like...
Yeah, I mean, there were obviously 12-year-olds smoking weed.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
how?
6... Like,
I didn't get around that till I was, like, 14.
Yeah.
Even then, like, I wasn't even really around it.
Yeah.
I just knew people were doing it.
Yeah. And, so is it... that all these 18-year-olds hanging out with too many youngsters, or they realize, you know what, let me make a business out of this and start selling
It
to
could be a
them.
business. Obviously, 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, they have older siblings.
Right.
They have neighbors, you know. Be a bunch of different things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe their parents are okay with it. Who knows?
That would be crazy though. That's just
It's
like,
happen.
yeah, it would be crazy, but at the same time, yeah, like I've seen a lot of parents be okay with a lot worse things. You know, like back then, you know, parents used to like sell off their kids to like adults and like, you know, or
That's extreme though. That's because of poverty. They
Right.
need money, but a little slightly different. That's desperation. It's a
Right.
little different, but
no, I'm talking about like, let's say for instance the R. Kelly situation. You know, like how Aaliyah was 16 and she went to go live with R. Kelly, which he was like 30s or something like that. You
I
know,
don't know about that whole situation, but
you technically,
that stuff kind of happens for,
yeah,
like, let's say my daughter is a gymnast, or I will want my kid to be a professional soccer player or basketball player.
yeah,
Might have them go live with some really highly regarded coach, you know. That stuff kind of happens. I don't know the situation so much, but I mean, I could see a parent making that mistake, or I mean, it could be a mistake, it could not be a mistake in certain situations, but I could see a parent doing that, like, hey, yeah, this is a vocal coach, we can't just uproot our family and move across the country, but I could send my daughter over there,
right,
kind of thing. It's almost like a boarding school.
right, yeah, and I mean, knowing the law to the whole thing though is like, you know, as an adult you have to go, hey, you gotta get your parents' signature, you gotta make sure your parents are okay with this and all the other stuff. But I'm like, the whole another level to it was that he asked the parents if he could marry her, and the parents went, yeah, like, it's fine.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah,
I don't know. That,
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
that was like an actual thing back then. Like way back then, you like, to marry a 16-year-old, you have to ask the parents if it's okay, and the parents have to write off,
I don't know if you should have proposed.
like, you know, a permission. There was another, like, I don't know his name, but it was like a rock star who married a 16-year-old too, and the parents were okay with it. Like, yeah, go ahead, you know, gave permission and everything. I don't know if it's still a thing to this day, but I know in Europe, at 16, you're allowed to, you know, date anybody you want.
That's kind of weird though. Like, it was one thing for like just a regular 30-year-old guy, but
Right.
like R. Kelly, like, he's famous, he's got a lot of money. It's like, that'd be. I hope I never get put in that decision.
Right.
But my daughter's not doing stuff like that. I have one, but that's.
Hey, Dad.
No, you can't marry rich. Like, like, that's kind of funny to think about. That's kind of bad, but it's kind of funny to think about.
But yeah, like, you know, what if your daughter was like, "Hey, Dad, I want to marry like Tiger or somebody." You know, I'm 16.
Like
I'm
Kylie.
Yeah.
I would say no to Tiger. Tiger's different than R. Kelly. Tiger's a bum.
Yeah, that's
At least R. Kelly's a legend.
Wait, so why is it different for?
It's, I don't know, man. It's jokes, but
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
But it's still kind of different.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's a whole different person.
yeah.
But, like, I don't know. That's like, it's just funny to think about.
Yeah,
no, you cannot marry R. Kelly. You're too young.
Like, I wonder how much R. Kelly's worth. Like,
nowadays probably nothing. They probably like.
No, I don't know. He's
Yeah.
gotta be, man.
I
You
mean,
just gotta, at that point, you just gotta be retarded with money.
Yeah.
At that point, your money should be making your money, regardless of whether or not you're torn or
Yeah.
not. I'm just putting me in a situation where I can make like $20 million a year. Oh my gosh, that'd be nice. Just for like, all I would need is like 3 years of that.
Right.
No one have to do anything ever again.
You think you can live off of $80 million?
Well,
Well,
when you start
60.
investing that stuff, you
Yeah.
start.
buy a couple houses, rent them out.
Right.
Next thing you know, you got 40,000 houses that are making you $500 a month.
Right.
Bro, that's a lot of money.
No, I thought you were just saying like 3 years of $20 million and you just live off the $60 million. Because I was like, what about, you know?
I mean, you could even live off of this. Yeah, I get that too. Yeah. But I mean, just buy the house that you're in.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to pay to like live anywhere. You don't have to pay a mortgage. Your house is already paid for.
Yeah.
You just got to pay to keep the lights on.
And food. There's also property tax.
Yeah, there's property taxes. There's health injuries and whatnot. But really, what I was coming down to is, at that point, you should be spending your money to make money.
Right.
If you have that much money, it should be easy.
Yeah, it should be.
You should never ever get close to being broke.
I mean, I heard that from a friend that if you put $10 million in the bank, that would generate like $100,000 like
a year off of the small amount of interest. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I was like damn, that's crazy. So you can really live off of $10 million if you
spend less than $100,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like if you just buy like a nice small house, nothing too big, nothing too fancy or whatever, and just like buy maybe 1 or 2 cars and just live off of that $100,000 a year, pretty much. You know. But like the wise thing to do would be to invest because you want to do.
You're gonna make way more than that $100,000 off that $10 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Way more.
Yeah, like,
you're gonna make $5 million off of that $10 million in like a couple years.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about retirement plans though? Like from certain businesses and stuff like that.
I mean, it seems like all the people that are old are getting screwed off of it.
Right.
To me, my retirement plan is hopefully to have, hopefully by the time I'm like in my late 40s, early 50s, maybe like 30 houses that I'm having renting out. Real estate's the way to go now. Where you're making that $500 per house.
Yeah.
Getting that cash flow of like $100,000 a year. But that's kind of what I want to do, and just live on a cruise. Just cruise the world for the rest of my life.
I mean, I think you can pretty much do it. I mean, like you have marketing degree?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's just basically marketing, basically.
Yeah. Like, to a degree, I'd probably just be lazy and hire a management company. Just pay them. So I really didn't have to do anything. Just pay them like 10%.
That's funny.
No, I'll make $400 per house instead of $500.
Right. I'd probably be lazy and just hire a management company.
I mean, that's what you do, though, right?
Yeah.
You pay people to do stuff, so you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And you make more money.
Yeah.
Then you pay them.
I mean, I don't know about make more money, but you don't have to do all the work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
that's why you would pay someone to do something though.
Yeah.
It's because it is cost effective to you.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Why do it when I could have someone else do it?
Yeah.
Maybe have a little bit less money, but I also don't have to do whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I just do whatever I want.
I mean, you could also get more houses too, because like at a certain point, like 5 houses would be too much for one person. It's like
but that's why you get the management. Yeah. That's why you get the management company.
Yeah. Because it's all like, damn, like that person lease is coming up soon. What am I supposed to do next? Holy crap, that other person lease is coming up soon. So you kind of have them to figure that out for you. But then they don't do anything without you. Like, hey, what do you think about this much for the next lease, or do you want to sell the house, or stuff like that. Which it makes sense. It's like 3 years of $20 million make $60 million. Invest. What do you think about like investing in like startup companies?
Not so much. That's such a high risk.
Yeah.
Such a high risk. I mean, if you really believe in the company, and I don't know, that's something else, but that's a pretty high risk, obviously. More companies than not fail.
Right.
And it's usually after a couple of years as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me is that I pretty much invested into like my own thing, right? So then, kind of invest into a small company, it's already been like 3 years. You know, they said a startup company doesn't make money unless it's been like 5 years or something like that. That's like the statistic of it all and all that. So basically, you know, investing into your own company. What do you think about that? Like, do you think that's just like, well, crap?
That's different than investing into a startup.
Right. Well, it's technically a startup, but
yeah, but if it's my startup, it's different. Obviously, I'm not gonna start a company unless I think I'm gonna make money.
Yeah.
And it's directly on me as well. It's not putting much it's not putting it in someone else's hands. You don't know how they're gonna do. You also don't know how you're gonna do, but you can at least control it.
Yeah.
Have a controlling factor on it. So that's gonna be way different. That I could see happening easily, depending on what it was. I mean, my whole retirement plan is pretty much starting a company,
Right. And what's ideal for you? Like, what would be like your ideal company to start up, pretty much?
I mean, real estate,
Yeah.
kind of just what I went over. Buying properties, running them out.
So not a marketing company at all? Like,
Nah.
Oh, man. Like, not even like if somebody comes to you and be like, hey, since you got a marketing degree, what if I pay you this much and you market my company or whatever?
It depends on what it was.
Right.
It depends on what it was.
Right.
I don't know. Like, and obviously what they wanted. But, yeah, it would all just depend.
Right. And then moving on to, like, companies and everything, right? There's, like, Twitter, there's Facebook. I'm not sure about Instagram and Snapchat or whatever, but Twitter and Facebook are deleting people's profiles based off of what they say. So, like, let's say, for instance, a lot of the Republicans think, that Twitter is being biased to Democrats and Republicans. They're deleting a lot of Republicans' profiles and everything. How do you feel about that? Do you think Twitter and Facebook should stay out of, like, all that?
I mean, there's a block button.
Right.
You could just use the block button. I do kind of think Twitter is being a little bit biased. I don't necessarily think it's the Republicans. I think it's mainly to race. They're kind of letting race stuff go, but anything that's like homophobic or anything like that, they're getting out of there real quick.
Right.
Political views, they're kind of let fly.
Right.
I mean, it's really all the hate speech that they're going after, but it's just kind of funny, like this stuff that they kind of are lenient on. They're pretty much strict on everything else.
Right.
In my opinion, from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, you're on Twitter, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm over here like on the outside, like I'm not on Twitter, but like.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny what they let slide and what they don't.
Right.
Obviously got people that I follow that I see, post that they got suspended over something. And it's like, it's always kind of like, really? That's what you get suspended over? And then you like see some people say some like outlandish racist stuff.
Right.
But they still tweeting. It's kind of funny.
Right.
Like I have a friend who, well, not necessarily a friend, this person I follow got suspended for 7 days. And it's kind of funny. I've only really seen people get, suspended for a day.
Right.
But she got suspended for 7 days. But yeah, she got suspended for 7 days. I mean, she told a girl to go die, but still the 7 days for that.
7 days to tell a girl to go die.
Yeah, they kind of like were arguing over something. She said something, so she should just go and die. What?
Oh man, no, I can't believe that because like I probably said that like a long time ago on Facebook, like just as a joke though. Like
I don't think it was necessarily a joke, but it wasn't serious either.
Yeah.
They're kind of arguing, but I mean, because you got to report it.
Right.
It's got to get reported for them to see it, but.
Okay, because I was like, are they really?
Yeah, they're not monitoring it. It's got to get reported and cause like them to grab their attention and them to review it and everything.
Right. And Are you on Facebook as much, or is it just kind of like
kind of sorta, not as much though.
So you don't really get to see like anybody gets suspended on Facebook or whatever?
No, but I'm only like friends with like people I know in real life.
Right.
Twitter, I'm kind of. It's not like that. It's funny on Twitter. There's barely anybody that I follow or that follows me that I know in real life.
Right.
I think that's part of the reason why Twitter is so much more wild.
Mm-hmm.
It's because like yeah, nobody knows you in real life. But on Facebook, it's a little bit more tamed. I really just share memes on there. My friends just share memes. You know, my friends from high school.
Right.
That's really what Facebook is. Funny enough, they're all memes from like Twitter tweets that are like at least 3 weeks old. So I don't know. They see everything later.
That's crazy. So yeah, so you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram. Do you see anything there like?
Not as much on Instagram. Just people posting photos.
Mm.
I know there's a lot of hate in comments, but that's from like the celebrities.
Right. Because like, as I'm asking you all this stuff, I don't ever see any of it. I'm on most.
It's really only on Twitter. It's really only on Twitter. Twitter's the lawless social media app.
I should probably get a Twitter just to laugh and stuff. I'll start laughing at like some memes about just certain people.
Well, the funny thing about Twitter is everybody that is on Twitter could probably agree to this, at least some extent. They made a Twitter, got on, didn't really know how to use it, deleted it, made a Twitter again like 3 months later, realized how to like use Twitter, realized how funny Twitter was. They've never left. That's their favorite app.
But don't you think like Twitter is dying though?
No, not even. I mean, it's not as good as it used to be. But the reason why is because more people got on,
right.
And it's the people that got on. Everybody left Tumblr and came to Twitter. That's when Twitter was That's when Twitter started to be not as good. Got a little bit more sensitive. Back before Twitter was even more of a lawless place. That's why whenever these celebrities their tweets get resurfaced from like 2012, 2011, or when these like NCAA players they get drafted or they like do something really good, they make the top 10 or they do really well in the NCAA tournament, and then their tweets come back and resurface from when they were like 16 back in like 2012 when Twitter was way different.
Right. I
don't even like bat an eye. It was just a different time. People would just be joking and like the jokes would be really bad jokes.
Right.
But like they were funny jokes. They were just bad, like maybe bad taste.
Right.
But like it's way too sensitive now. Like so like whenever those tweets resurface, I'm just like, I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
It was different back then. You probably didn't have a Twitter.
Right.
You probably made your Twitter like 3 years later, and you're the reason why Twitter isn't as good now. It's not as funny because people get censored.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't understand. But I see those tweets and I understand it. It's like kind of messed up, but I know they didn't mean it. And they said it as a joke because of like the topic of whatever it was that night on Twitter.
Right. I mean, to me, I feel like we should all like stick together and be like, yo, like, honestly, it was just a joke, you know, because...
Yeah, and you shouldn't have to apologize for a joke if it wasn't in bad harm.
Yeah.
I think we had this conversation last week. It's like, if I say something to you and I mean it this way and you take it another way, and you get offended, that's on you. That's your fault. So, that's not on me. Like, I meant it this way. You didn't take it that way.
Right.
Like, maybe I could have portrayed that message better.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, that's not what I meant. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rules, but...
Yeah. I mean, there's also, like, you know, you have James Gunn who, you know, his Twitter resurfaced. He's kind of an edgy dude with his Twitters and all that stuff.
Who's this?
James Gunn. He's a director. He directed Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But they fired him and everything, and now he's going to be directing the second part of Suicide Squad and all that. But at the same time, everybody was, like, hating on Disney. Like, what the hell? You know, like, why are you firing him? He didn't do anything wrong. It was just old tweets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was edgy, but like we
understand. Yeah, well, they gotta protect their image.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It all boils down to the people who are way too sensitive.
Yeah,
about it all and don't get that it was a joke. And word for word, he probably didn't mean what he said. It was just a joke.
Yeah,
it was probably a lot of sarcasm involved in it too.
Right.
So,
I mean, then you also have the more recent, like, Demi Lovato, who made fun, not made fun of, but she was laughing at 21 Savage's meme.
That was too funny to me, man. Oh my god. So basically what happened, really, if we're being honest, whenever you were in high school, I'm sure everybody did this when they were in high school or middle school. You made fun of people, right?
Yeah.
You got in big circles and you made fun of people.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever, like, you were making fun of someone and a random person would laugh too hard, what would happen? Everybody would start making fun of the person that laughed too hard, right?
Yeah.
That's just what happened to Demi Lovato. She laughed too hard. And then she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it. So let me ask you this, Christian.
Right.
Let me ask you this. How many times were there where you're like, yo, that was funny, but I gotta try to not laugh too hard?
There was a lot of times, though, yeah. I was once the guy who laughed too hard, though, yeah. And they brutalized me, like,
I was never the guy who laughed too hard, because I learned. The first time I saw that happen, I learned. But she just laughed too hard. I'll never forget the first time I saw that happen, too. We're at lunch, right?
Yeah.
And there was this kid. This is my freshman year. He was a senior. His name was Big Ben, and like he was known for this. Like he would see people in the hallway, and like what he would do before he would ride you, because that's what we called it. Like, oh, I'm about to ride your ass. Yeah. He'd say, "Whoa," just like that, right? So when you heard "whoa," you got to turn around and make sure it wasn't you, right? He would see people in the hallway, be like, "Whoa." And people would start running, bro. It was funny, and he's a big black guy, right? When I say big, he was fat. He wasn't necessarily that tall.
Right.
But so he was making fun of this guy. And we're outside the cafeteria. It's probably a small group of us. It's like 8 of us. And this is back around the time Borat came out.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And there was a guy who looked like Borat. And this coincidentally also the first time he got called Borat that I witnessed, because it was just fresh movie. So he gets called Borat. We laughing, right? This guy who's even bigger than Big Ben, right?
Yeah.
Even fatter than Big Ben. He's eating his lunch. He's got 2 chicken sandwiches, right? So it made it even perfect, right? Made it even better. He's chuckling, bro. He's so Big Ben turns around. He goes, "What you stomping at, Bowser?" And let me tell you, this guy kind of looked like Bowser, bro. He was a Spanish guy. Like, he's the kind of fat where, like, your like, neck and your shoulders are a little bit raised up. He said, "What you stomping at, Bowser?" I'll never forget that. Oh, my God. That was too funny. And that's when I learned not to laugh too hard. And Demi laughed too hard. I feel bad for her, but, like, shouldn't have laughed too hard.
Yeah, I mean,
if you can't take people laughing at you, don't laugh at other people. That's what it stems down to.
Honestly, I agree with a lot of other people that if she didn't want like people to come after her, then why did she even say like the best part of the Super Bowl was laughing at 21 Savage memes? Like, you should have kept that to yourself,
Yeah,
in private.
And I get that. Like, she laugh, and without hitting the retweet button.
Yeah.
Or like commenting on that.
Yeah.
And like, I get that she didn't expect.
Yeah.
For people to come at her, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she should have expected it, and that's her fault. Now she knows.
Yeah.
Now she knows.
You think she's gonna come back on Twitter or not yet?
I mean, she probably will. It happened to her before, which is the crazy thing about it. All that happened to her before. She was 21 Savage in a situation before.
Right.
Unprovoked, something just happened in her life. Obviously, she overdosed, but people came at her, so you would think she would be able to sympathize.
Yeah.
With 21 Savage, but no, the best part of the Super Bowl is these 21 Savage memes. So it's kind of like hypocritical there too.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that's true. And all that. And that's pretty funny how you compared it to like back in high school. Because like literally I did not look at it like that until you compared it. I'm like, yeah, no, that's true. She laughed too hard.
That's what it was, man. Yeah, that's all it was. She laughed too hard.
Yeah.
Don't laugh too hard again, Demi. Because this is your second time now.
Yeah.
I think she's suicidal, so hopefully the third strike she isn't out. But
yeah,
don't get that third strike, Demi.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Like, for your health, for a lot of your fans' sanity, like stay, like don't worry about it. It'll blow over. There'll be somebody else that we're gonna go after.
Yeah,
I know that for a fact.
And it'll change in 30 minutes or 30 seconds, like it happened to Demi.
Yeah, we might even go back after Kevin Hart again. You know, like
it
seems like
nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Exactly.
LeBron be getting jokes, bro. LeBron's like by far the best basketball player ever.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe. Everybody gets jokes, bro. No matter how much people like you on the internet, they still gonna crack them jokes. The joke's gonna fly no matter what.
So, what do you think about? So they're thinking about like putting more rules onto like the internet and everything. What do you think about that happening?
I mean, it depends what those rules are. And you got to think the internet that we know is only like a small percentage of the internet. You know, the dark web is the majority of the internet.
Right.
Most of us don't have access to the dark web, so you're not going to be able to control that no matter what.
Yeah.
That's where all the real problems with the internet really are, in my opinion.
So like they calling a hitman and all that stuff and
getting drugs and all that stuff. Yeah,
I know somebody who did that though, like called a hitman.
Really?
On the dark internet. I didn't see them do it. I know somebody who like told me like, yeah, you can actually do it. Like,
it's definitely a thing. You can do anything in this world.
Yeah, so like to really think about it, you're like, damn, I really don't want to do anything bad to anybody, you know, who's like crazy enough to call a hitman on me.
Yeah.
And everything, because next you know, it's like Christian died in a mysterious way. Don't know how. Like,
right. I heard a story of some guy logging onto the dark web, and he obviously didn't do it right.
Right.
And then he gets a video sent to him of him walking down the street. It's like, how freaked out would you be? Like, you're just walking on the street because you're on the dark web.
Right.
Like, unprotected. Somebody was, like, messing with you. So where they sent you that video, you'd be freaked out.
Yeah.
I would never go back home.
No, that's... So...
Never log on to the internet again.
No, that's true. Yeah, like somebody getting your IP address and figuring out where you live and shit, and that'd be crazy. So we're coming up to the end now, and here's the final question that I did on my last podcast. What is going to be like the next thing for you? Like, what's going on in your life now? Like, what are you gonna do next?
Well, I just tore my ACL, so I'm doing rehab for that, and hopefully I'll be, done getting my leg back to normal around May, June, and then I'm looking into moving to LA.
Okay.
And that's gonna be the next thing for me.
Okay. And is there anything else like business wise that you're?
I'm gonna try and do the same thing I do now. I kind of want to keep that discreet, but I'll be working for a company.
All right.
Out there.
Okay, cool.
Kind of similar to the same thing I do now, just on the other side of it.
All right, so where can we find you on social media? And also we will tag it, so just tell them your social media. Yeah,
my Twitter handle is @BigK792. Instagram is KM_044. Do you want, should I give them Snapchat? Snapchat is, what is my Snapchat? I think it's a KM_44. There's no 0 in that. There could be a 0 in it.
Isn't it KM_?
Yeah, KM_.
Okay.
Yeah, KM_44 for Snapchat. KM_044.
All right.
For Instagram.
Awesome. And that was the end of Let's Have a Conversation. And that was Khalil. And I'm Christian Wiggins. See you guys next time.